Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2021-22 season. My name is Dan and today we've got a Game Week 6 team selection video for you today where we will look over at my Game Week 5 scores and then we build my team for Game Week 6 including any transfers and what I'm thinking for captains as well. So, loads to talk about, a weird game week, lots of injuries and stuff like that flying about at the moment. I'm sure you guys will know already. So yeah, this could be a kind of interesting team selection video, that's for sure, guys. So yeah, if you do enjoy what you see today, please do leave a like and of course subscribe. We're on the road to 100k subscribers right now. Now we've passed 90. So yeah, please do subscribe if you are new. That would be massively appreciated. Yeah, man, we've got to close that gap on 100k for sure. But before we go on any further, a quick word from our sponsor today, our regular sponsor, OneFootball for the team selection video, which is a great app / website for all things football. The great app just for kind of checking scores, checking stats, checking lineups, checking all kinds of things football related, particularly if you can't watch particular games. It's really handy to have that app in your back pocket or front pocket, depending on where you keep your phone, just for checking out what's going on in the world of football around the world. There's also news and stuff on there as well, so it's all pretty good if you like football. Completely free, link at the top of the description. Do go check it out. But without further ado, let's have a look at my scores from last game week. So my Game Week 5 score was bad. I'm not going to lie to you guys, it was bad. It was not a good score at all, and I've had a significant rank drop. It was a bit of a strange game week, a lot of injuries, flying about. We're talking about Trent Alexander-Arnold becoming ill. I already had a thin squad, to be fair, because I opted to keep Antonio on my bench there, as you can see. And as such, an already thin squad looked even thinner when we had, the illness to Trent, Rafinha getting injured and taken off there as well. But aside from that, it's not just a case of injuries and bad luck and stuff like that, because there was a bit of bad luck there. I have to say it was a bit of a week where a lot of variance was on show, and that's going to happen across the season. You kind of have to accept that. You got to kind of roll with the punches a little bit on those ones, and everything can't always go your way, and that's absolutely fine. But I also do need to acknowledge that there are some holes forming in my team here as well, and I feel like I am drawing closer and closer to pulling the trigger on that wildcard button. So you can kind of see Ayling, for example, he's kind of not the player that I initially brought in, and this is kind of the theme here. A lot of the players I have weren't the players I kind of expected them to be when I first brought them in. So Ayling, for example, I expected Leeds to perform a lot better defensively. Luke Shaw, I expected Manchester United to perform a lot better defensively. Jota is now rotation risk again now that Firmino's back. Greenwood has had his chances limited a lot more in terms of goal scoring opportunities, assist potential, stuff like that since Ronaldo has come into the Manchester United team. So he's not quite the player that I brought in as well. Brownhill's just Brownhill, he's going to stay on my bench most of the time anyway. And then we've got someone like Jimenez, who I really like the look of. The underlying stats look really good, but by now we kind of have to see that although it does feel like a goal really is coming, and I'm not gonna sell Jimenez or anything like that, because I know if I did, as soon as I did that, he would score in the next game. It's kind of one of those situations because the stats are there, they're backing him up. He's taking an insane amount of shots and stuff like that, particularly in dangerous areas as well. But it's kind of clear that he doesn't quite have that confidence yet. He needs a goal desperately to get him going, to get him up and running in the goal scoring form. He's been out for a long time before the start of this season, and he's not quite ready. And that's fair enough. I just hope that he can just get that goal, get that confidence, and become the player that he was before. But again, when I brought him in, I kind of expected that he might return to this form a little bit quicker than he had. But yeah, that's not happened. So there are some holes forming in this team. Like I say, the players that I've got are not the players that I hoped they would be. Some of it I kind of knew was going to happen. Jota was always a short-term punt, for example. But yeah, we're getting close to something, and perhaps that was kind of a reason why some cracks started to appear in Game Week 5 and why we got a slightly lower score. I still think it's a good team. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's a bad team, but there are some cracks forming, and the team that I have is not exactly where I would want it to be right now. But you can't have it go your way every week. Hopefully we can survive the next couple of weeks and pull that wildcard trigger in Game Week 8. That is the plan. But without further ado, after a pretty poor game week, we need to react the right way. We need to move on in an appropriate fashion. We need to make sure we remain calm, keep a cool head, remain positive, remember why we brought our players in the first place, and kind of assess the situation as it is. So let's do that as we line up for Game Week 6. So, one free transfer, 0.2 million in the bank. Not very much in the bank, to be fair, but we have got a transfer to use, and it feels like one of those weeks where you might have to use a transfer just because of all the injuries and stuff like that. But anyway, guys, let's go. So let's start off in goal with Sanchez. This week he has got Crystal Palace, which is a much nicer fixture than Leicester, to be fair. And you know what? It was not too far away from a clean sheet against Leicester. So against Crystal Palace, we do like that a lot more. I know that Crystal Palace are capable of getting a few goal scoring opportunities, but I still do have a lot of faith in the Brighton defence. They've kind of proven themselves over the last sort of year and a bit, I guess, in terms of being a defence to be reckoned with. A really good defence there. So I'm hoping for some more Sanchez points. Hopefully no more yellow cards like he got last week. And a clean sheet and a save point, that'll be good enough for me. I'll be pretty happy with that. We won't dwell on that one too much though. Let's go on to Trent Alexander-Arnold, who we now know is going to be available for this game week. We kind of knew this in a way anyway, to be fair. A lot of us had a good idea, I guess, because it was only a fact that he was kind of feeling kind of ill on the day, or on match day before, and now he is back and he is training and he is feeling better and he is going to be ready to start against Brentford. Brentford not getting too many goal scoring opportunities. I know they scored a penalty and an additional goal against Wolves, a lackluster looking Wolves, to be fair, in that last game week, game week 5, but this week it's a slightly different situation. They're playing against Liverpool. This is kind of Brentford's first big test of the season, and it's going to be in many ways us finding out how good Brentford are playing against the big boys. I'm not really sure how they're going to get on or not. I'm really interested to find out, to be fair, but I do think that Trent has got a very good chance of a clean sheet, and as always, a really good chance of getting some goal contributions, particularly assists, because he is just so creative, the #1 creative player of the Premier League, despite having missed a game already. But we'll move on to Luke Shaw. I still think Luke Shaw is a really good pick. Not an amazing pick necessarily. I'm sure a lot of you guys would agree. You'd probably rather have maybe a Chelsea defender, a Rudiger, or someone like that, or maybe a Cancelo. I agree. I would prefer to have those players, but I don't think Shaw is a bad pick. This game against Aston Villa, it's an opportunity for a clean sheet. There's always an opportunity for clean sheets, particularly when you're playing at home, because home and away does seem to be a big factor this season. And also Shaw is that guy who is going to be providing the most chances in terms of crosses for a player like Cristiano Ronaldo. So assist points are going to be on the cards, and even if they're not, we're going to be talking about bonus points if Shaw is continuing to be creative, and he has been very creative. It'd just be nice to see a few more clean sheets for Manchester United, but on any given game week, there's a good possibility. Perhaps Manchester United a little bit unlucky not to keep a clean sheet last week, because of course the goal that West Ham scored last week did take a very heavy deflection, and that's not going to happen every single game week. So yeah, this week maybe hoping for slightly better things from Manchester United. Let's see what they can do. And we're going to finish off the defence with Duffy, who has been a bit of a legend, to be fair, a real cheap budget bargain guy since I brought him in, and he served me really well. I know he didn't keep a clean sheet last game week, but he did manage to get an assist, which would have been really nice points if he got a clean sheet as well, but he didn't. But he did get that assist, which was a few points. So a little gem there. He's doing quite well, and he does seem to be nailed on in this Brighton team as well. So as long as Brighton can continue to be a fairly good defence, then I'm pretty happy with that as well. So we'll move on to Salah in midfield. Again, like I was saying earlier, this is Brentford's first big test, and I'm kind of curious to see how it goes, because Brentford have, to be fair, kept some of the best defensive numbers so far this season. But the problem is they haven't really been tested. Who are the big attacks that they've played so far? Arsenal, when Arsenal didn't have any of their strikers fit. Brighton, I guess they scored against them, to be fair. Wolves, not quite there, not quite got the shooting boots on. Jimenez and Wolves did just look really bad particularly in defence in that game as well. So I don't know. I feel like Brentford haven't been tested yet. I'm just so curious to see if they're the real deal or not. And Salah is definitely going to be the player to test them, because Salah is in the form of his life. He really is. His form is incredible. You can say that his 30 goal season was the best you've ever seen Salah when he came into Liverpool, but this season. Right now, I feel like his form right now is as good as it ever has been since he signed for Liverpool. I really do. And yeah, he's just an absolute FPL gem. You got to have him. And I have no doubt that he's going to score well against Brentford, as he seems to be scoring well every single game week, to be fair. We've got Jota in next, who, similar situation to Salah in terms of the opposition. Jota obviously did miss an open goal last week. Another one of those moments where you kind of feel a little bit sorry for yourself, but it's all part of football. Football is unpredictable. Things don't always go 100% as expected, which is absolutely fine. But the interesting thing with Jota is he going to get rotated with Firmino or not? Firmino is back in contention to play this weekend. Is it going to happen or not? Is Jota going to play? Is Firmino going to play? I'm not exactly sure. What I can tell you is that even off the bench, Jota does have a very, very good record for Liverpool, coming off the bench and against tired legs perhaps, and doing some work there. But how good is Jota's form? I don't know. His underlying numbers are great. He's getting good scoring opportunities. He's creating chances, but he's not finishing, he's not finishing the chances, or should I say maybe his teammates are not finishing his chances when he has been the creative guy as well. So is it going to happen for him? The stats say yes. Is it going to happen this game? I don't know. I don't know what Brentford are going to be. I don't know, if Firmino's going to play. I don't know if Jota is going to come off the bench and be absolutely amazing off the bench. We don't really know. So it's a mystery, really, with Jota. But I do think it is worth giving him one more game week because, like I say, there are bigger problems to worry about this week in particular, aren't there? So we've got Mason Greenwood next. Again, I'm not fully convinced by this one just because his numbers have dropped so much since Ronaldo came into the team. And it really is kind of disappointing because Jota and Greenwood, these are kind of players who can score so well if you own them at the right times. I just think we are coming out of the right times to own them. So, but for both of them, this is, and if I was wildcarding, neither of them would make the cut, would they? So it's a difficult one. But we do know how good Greenwood is. We do know that if he gets a chance to score, he probably will bury it because he is that good of a finisher. It's just a case of whether he's going to get the opportunities, whether the ball is going to be played to him, whether he's just spending so much time creating space for Ronaldo or dropping in deep to allow more freedom for Ronaldo. I don't know, because we kind of have seen a little bit of that so far. But, we know of the ability of Greenwood. We know that he's most likely going to start every single game until Rashford is back. So I'm not so worried about Greenwood, I guess. I know he's going to play at least. Let's just see what he can do against Aston Villa. I don't know. It really is a mystery. But we'll roll the dice on that one because it's not quite wildcard time, in my opinion. And finally, in midfield, we've got Rafinha, who is 50% flagged. He has got a Dorito of death, and it's a slightly tangy Dorito of death, an extra cheesy Dorito of death, because it is going into those more orange gradients at 50%, probability to play. And the problem is here, Bielsa has said in his press conference already that we don't know if Rafinha is going to play. He's going to have a late fitness test. He's not quite ready. If he's ready, he's going to play. If he's not ready, he's not going to play. And it's going to be as simple as that. So it's going to be a case for a lot of us is, do we roll the dice on Rafinha's hip problem and hope that he plays, or do we try and take him out and replace him with someone else? And I think the answer to that question is going to be, as always, can you cover it? But not just that. Rafinha is not fully fit right now. So even if he is playing, we are potentially talking about him playing 60 minutes or, coming off the bench to play a few minutes at the end. And even when he is playing, is he going to be at his best? Probably not. So all of these factors need to come into consideration as well, which means Rafinha is a very, very, very prime prime candidate to be sold from my particular FPL team this week, and I'm sure it's the same for a lot of you guys, unless of course we've got the Bamford problem, which is an absolute nightmare. Bamford has definitely been ruled out of this game, so at least I don't have Bamford in my team, I guess. But for you Bamford owners, at least you can swap him straight for Antonio if you don't have him already, and just grab Antonio, and that will be absolutely fine. But we'll move up front anyway. We've got Ronaldo, absolute beast. So we're expecting big things at home again against Aston Villa. We're expecting big things because he's just been incredible since he came into the Premier League. His numbers have been unreal. I don't want to. I'm going to put this out there, guys, but I think Cristiano Ronaldo might even be as good as Antonio as a football player. I don't know. What do you think? But yeah, no, definitely. You can see that his price is raised up to 12.7. He's an incredibly popular player this game week, and he is most likely to be the most captained player among the top players in FPL as well. Really, really popular captain at home here. So yeah, incredible, absolute phenomenon, and Yeah, more of the same, please, Ronaldo. You've been an absolute treat since you've joined our FPL world, I guess. We've got Antonio next, the slightly better version of Ronaldo, I like to call him. He is back, and I cannot wait to see what he can produce. Now, this Leeds team that Antonio is about to face are in big trouble. So Leeds, obviously, they've got a couple of injuries. We know that Bamford's been ruled out. We know that, a lot of their defenders have been ruled out by suspension or injury. We've got Rafinha potentially out. We've got Luke Ayling, who's kind of the backup to centre-back that had to play last week. Now he's not going to be available either. So basically, we're in a situation where Leeds kind of don't really have any centre-backs out. Like, they are so thin in defence that they are in big trouble and they are going to concede a lot of goals. We saw how many chances Newcastle got against them. Now imagine that same team, but without Luke Ayling, who actually put in a okay performance. It was the other players. It was kind of Firpo and Cooper in particular. Those were kind of the worrying players in defence as it was. Now Ayling, who actually did okay, or I thought he did okay anyway, he's going to be out as well. It's just it's a really bad situation for Leeds at the moment, and we've got an attacker against Leeds, and that is Antonio against a shot to hell Leeds team, no defence, maybe barely even an attack either, and a Leeds team, by the way, that won't change their play style either. They will still be high octane, 100% attacking, aggressive football, which is going to leave them very vulnerable to a team of the quality that West Ham have, and we know by now, we've got to accept it by now, West Ham are a top Premier League team. Antonio, so far this season in particular, has been an incredible player. He is sort of the top player in pretty much every single metric, across the board. As an overall player, very high in all his attacking stats. He's incredible. He really is incredible, and it's just it screams at me that this is going to be a huge week for Antonio. And guys, if you don't have Antonio in your team, I think you should be seriously worried this game week. Seriously worried, because I think he's going to have an absolute field day against this Leeds side. I really do. And we're going to finish off the attack here with Jimenez, who has been a little bit more disappointing, like I say. But a goal is on its way. I do want to hold him for both Southampton and Newcastle and just hope that he can get something, because like I say, I know for a fact as soon as I take him out of my team, he's going to score immediately. It is coming. It really feels like the goal is coming. He's had a couple of really close chances. It is so close, and once the floodgates are open, we expect a few goals there as well. So yeah, he is going to stay in for the next couple of game weeks, and I'm just praying that he can get back on the score sheets. Quickly on the bench, we've got Steele, we've got Ayling, who, like I said, late fitness test for him as well. We don't know if he's going to play or not. We've got Brownhill. He's now flagged. I'm not sure if he's going to play. I think he's got a dead leg or something like that. So only a minor injury. But who cares anyway? We've got Amabama Dele against Everton. Is he even going to be starting anyway? I don't know. So yeah, you can see that I've not really got a lot to cover on the bench. So it really does seem to me like there's only one logical move for me, and that is to take Rafinha out. And that's the reason, because the reason is that I'd like Rafinha against Watford, but the reason being is because I can't cover it on the bench. If things go wrong, they go very wrong. And even if Rafinha plays, like I say, he's not going to be at 100%. He's going to be in a Leeds side that is getting dominated. He is going to, not have Bamford there to create for. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not convinced by having Rafinha. So I'm not 100% locked in on this one. But if I am going to make a move, I always said that if I was going to make a transfer move, I would be bringing in Ismaila Sarr. So Rafinha to Ismaila Sarr is the transfer move that I am most likely to make. Ismaila Sarr is the only player I would consider bringing in this game week. I think I would maybe consider bringing in Ben Rama as well back into my team. I know, crazy world that we live in, but you've got to swallow your pride sometimes and stay flexible as possible. That's how FPL is. That's how football is, I suppose. But yeah, Ismaila Sarr, I would be very keen to bring him in for Rafinha. I think that's the right move, and I think that would be really good. I like Sarr's next two fixtures, playing against Newcastle this week and then Leeds the week after. Those are two really good fixtures back to back for him, and then I'd be wildcarding in game week 8 ahead of that Liverpool game anyway, so it would be no problem whatsoever. He'd be a nice short-term punt and hopefully do the business in the short term, and certainly do more than all of my injured players, that's for sure. But yeah, once we've done that, we've got a full starting 11 of fully fit players. We've got not much on the bench. All of the players you expect to play some part in the games. Jota is probably most likely to not start. But even if he doesn't, he's very likely to come off the bench. So we are going to have a full 11, I believe, for this game week if I line up like this. And I think it'll be okay. It leaves me a little bit in the bank to mess about with next game week. I have a few ideas of what I want to do next game week, but let's see if there's any more injuries, any more news, anything like that, and we'll be fairly reactive for that final game week before the wild card. But this game week, this is how I'm most likely to set up. I will of course let you know in the deadline stream / on Twitter when I've locked in the transfer, depending on when I do it. So yeah, there we go, guys. That's the team for the game week. Captains quickly. Yeah, I wanted to avoid this because honestly, I only have one player in mind for captaincy, and I don't want to advise you guys to do this, because the sensible captain this game week is Ronaldo. The second most sensible captain this game week is Salah. But I cannot get out of my head that I really strongly feel that Antonio has the best chance of a good score this game week. I can't get that out of my head. All of my guts, all of my instincts says Antonio. So for the sake of this team, this is really what I want to do. Whether I bottle it last minute or not is another question. But what I really want to do is captain Antonio against Leeds. And let's throw the vice captain on Ronaldo, because like I said, I do think Ronaldo is probably the most sensible captain option for this game week. And Salah's good too. You know, all three captain options, I guess, are in my team. So that's a good thing. At least. So there we go. That's how we're going to line up, guys. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Let's see. Ugh. Another crazy game week and another crazy squad for the game week. Hopefully, guys, you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like and please do subscribe if you are new around here as we embark on the road to 100k subscribers. We're getting close. We're getting close, guys. So close. I'm going to do one more video this week. It's going to be a wildcard draft for all of you guys who are considering wildcarding, because there's so many problems in the Premier League. We get that. There's so many injuries and stuff like that. Yeah. Many of you will want a wild card, so I will make a video for you about wild cards probably tomorrow. So do stay tuned for that. But aside from that, guys, I just want to say thank you once again for watching, and I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.